Hey guys, this is AJ, your conservative reject. How you guys doing? You ready for another clip? You ready for another crazy rant slash diatribe slash whatever? Let's go for it. This is Tucker interviewing a guy who thinks it was racial in terms of the shooter in Las Vegas. Oh boy, here we go, guys.
Well, we still aren't quite sure, actually have no idea, what motivated Stephen Paddock to murder so many people. Nevertheless, syndicated columnist Rubin Navarette says he knows what America should do in response to those killings. Start profiling white men, all of them. Quote,
oh, something
there's plenty
new.
of evidence that law enforcement officers profile African Americans, Latinos, and Muslim Americans, Navarette wrote in a recent piece. How did white men get to be so special in an era when so many mass shootings are linked to gunmen who fit that profile? It is still. Reuben Everett joins us right now.
Oh my
Reuben, thanks for coming on.
Hey Tucker, longtime friend, first-time guest.
Oh, hi, Reuben.
So you're for profiling now.
Hi, Reuben
What
Navarette.
changed your mind? I thought you were against racial profile. I thought it was racist, but now it's not?
Well, there's two sides to that coin, right? The same folks who think it's okay to profile African-American motorists on a freeway or Muslim Americans at an airport or Mexicans on the border, they say, well, look at the numbers. Likewise, when you're talking about serial killers and mass murders, it's inescapable that most of those folks are white males. It just makes sense to keep it all even.
Nah.
Okay, so you're just for the record,
Yeah.
you're for
Yeah.
racial profiling now. So the next time some big city police department says we're profiling people outside a mosque, you're going to say
That fat, you
Yeah,
can't
good
hide
job.
under your goatee. Sorry.
You got to finish the quote in the column you read, the column that I just read.
Oh, it's always
this
out of
afternoon,
context. Yep,
talks
yep.
about not all white males. You said I want to profile all white males. No, I want to profile white males who buy an unusually large number of high-impact, powerful weapons and ammunition. If you do that, you add that behavior to that characteristic. Yeah, I think those are good people to keep an eye on.
How is
people
skin
listen to and
color
keep track of.
behavior?
So do you think
How's
there's
that a
something
behavior?
about, I mean, I guess what I found so striking about your column
Your associated behavior
was the racial
with the amount of
angle. I don't think
melanin in
most
someone's
people
skin.
I don't look at most shootings through the lens of race, and I didn't look at this one. I thought it was striking that he was old. I thought it was striking he was a former IRS guy. I thought a lot of things were interesting, but his race didn't jump out at me, but obviously it was a real concern for you. Why was this
Yeah,
a
it
racial
was.
killing? Yeah.
Yeah, it was for
Yeah.
me and a lot of other Latino African-American friends I talked to. They likewise sort of hold their breath whenever they hear about an incident like this, and they say, oh, geez, I hope this wasn't one of ours.
Oh,
I
shut
actually heard
up.
somebody who was a Christian fundamentalist say that he does the same thing. He always hopes that it's not one of his constituency, his community. So in terms of
Oh,
Latinos
shut
and
up about the
African-Americans, they
fundamentalism
are
crap.
increasingly afraid of white men with 42 guns in their arsenal. Who walk around with a grievance oftentimes as if somehow the world has done them wrong and they would have gotten into a better college if a minority hadn't taken their spot and all the like. So
I
my
wonder if you think,
gosh.
by the way,
No.
there are working class folks who talk about trade deals who put them out of work. There's one grievance after another with this bunch.
yeah, this bunch. I wonder if
Bunch,
we've got
right,
driver's
'cause this
license
is
photo up, by the
happening
way, the
every
shooter
other
on the screen.
day.
I don't know if you can see
Bunch,
it, but our viewers
yeah.
might be wondering what that is. I
White
wonder
men mass
if when
murders
you go
every
home and
10,
you play
15,
this
20
tape and you
years.
hear
Give me a
yourself
break,
making
Navarette.
generalizations about an entire racial group, if you'll think, wow, I've become a racist. I wonder if you'll come to that realization.
I've been called every name in the book, Tucker, by the right, left, I just got very unpopular.
That's a sincere question, though. Don't
No,
blow it off.
the left's
You
on your
just said
side.
about
They're
an
not calling you
entire
racist.
racial group,
They like
do
that you're doing
They're
this.
this way. They have these attitudes.
Right.
And that's, of course, the textbook definition of racism. So I wonder
Tucker,
if you know that. Yeah.
Here's the thing, and don't be condescending to me because it reminds me of white liberals. You and I both find white liberals to be really annoying. Okay, so don't say I wonder if you know that. I've been called a racist just last week when I took a stand against African American athletes kneeling during the national anthem.
Don't dodge the question and
black
get into this.
friends
I'm
called me
offending
a
both
racist
sides.
for that.
No.
This is
I'm
guy
being very
fancying
specific.
himself
I'm
some
saying when you, like,
magical
30 seconds
being
ago,
outside of political
not
affiliation.
Last week, said
Give me
of
a
an
break.
entire group of people who share
Everyone's
only
got
skin
political
color.
bias.
That's all they have in common.
And behavior, the fact that they stockpile weapons and ammunition.
That white people do. So you're comfortable
White
with
people,
making
right.
derogatory statements about a whole group of people based on their race. Because I
What
am
I'm
not
comfortable
comfortable
with,
doing
Tucker,
that.
that's fine. Well, let me think about that again, Tucker. I watch your show, and you often do that on this show, in fact. If that
Give me one
group of people
example.
happen to be Latinos or
Give me one
immigrants.
example where I've made any generalization about a group on the basis of their race. One time.
I think I'll give you one example. In the future, and you did this just last week, when you talk about immigration, you should not rely on people from FAIR or CIS the Center for Immigration Studies, groups that 20 years ago, Tucker, when I first met you,
I
you would
said,
criticize,
give me an example.
You would criticize when you wrote for the Weekly Standard.
Stop.
Yeah,
give me an example of me deriding an entire group of people on the basis of their race, and you can't because I don't believe in that, and I never have. And you just did, and I'm wondering when that became okay.
Yeah,
when did that become okay to do that?
Let's be clear about this. Let's be clear about this for the third and fourth time.
Let's be clear.
It's not just the racial characteristic. It says in the column, if you're a white male who stockpiles ammunition and high-powered weapons, the government should keep track of you.
You just said white men have these attitudes and they run around and they're mad because their kids didn't get into college.
Yep,
it's like,
he said it's behavioral.
It's not okay to make generalizations based on race.
It has something to do with the shows they
behavior
watch at night,
linked
and the sense that grievance
to the lack of melanin in their skin.
That you
Precisely
can
what
say
Reuben just said.
That's the textbook definition of racism and then accuse me of it for calling you out.
So, Tucker,
it's like
Yep.
cool little trick you figured out.
It's a liberal tactic.
Here's the thing. It doesn't really bother me if somebody calls me a racist. They do it on the right, left, and center all the time.
No, but
I only care that I make them think.
No, but I'm hoping to make you think about what you just said.
I think you're an arrogant little puss.
You are a racist. I'm saying what you just said is
if the FBI is saying
you're a tupsy little full of himself narcissist
serial killers and
who thinks he's above every other political affiliation.
How did they become so special? It's somehow the rules that apply to other people being profiled.
Your words are dripping with hostility. You make me nervous because I know that you're basically a reasonable guy, but you're dripping with race hatred all of a sudden, and it makes me worry about where this country is going. It really does. I mean,
I don't even understand where this guy's
Thanks
going.
for coming on tonight.
Whoa, what were those facial expressions toward the end? it's like he saw something scary on TV, like a severed body part that just fell off and the blood was spurting. He's like, oh gosh, oh my gosh. I don't know what that was at the end. That was kind of forced, but oh my gosh. Reuben Everett. This guy, you can already tell from the disposition of this guy, he fancies himself some mighty lord who's above conservatism, he's above liberals. Give me a break. Anybody who talks the way he does is a liberal or a Democrat. Give me a break. Oh, I'm sick of white liberals telling me get over it. You are a liberal, fool. And you know it. Shut up about that crap. You are what you are. You know who you are. And that's a liberal tactic. When a Democrat's being defeated in an argument, they'll often lash out at the other side for being condescending. I swear they're like kids. They're like teenagers who don't want to be condescended to. They're like they don't want a parental lecture. So what they'll do is go, no, you're hurting my feelings. Stop it. And you're so mean. And then they call you a name or something because they think you're actually being condescending when you're just having a conversation, which is what Tucker's having with them. But the thing, guys, to take away from this video, besides the guy who could barely fit his chin folds above his collar, is that people like these, Reuben, are not an anomaly. These kind of guys are all over the place. And this guy is a liberal. I don't care what he says, trying to act all neutral. He's a Democrat, to some extent or another, whether moderate or very extreme, what they call alt. I still don't get what alt is. It's just a stupid made-up name. I don't even understand what that is. Just call them radical. What they've been called before alt came out. I'm sick of that little word or acronym or abbreviation, whatever it is. But this guy's a Democrat. There's no doubt about it. Reuben Navarette, he's just playing the neutral card to sound more logical. Sound like the middleman who can negotiate between everybody. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to pick a side eventually, buddy. And you know what? I already know what side you want. I already know what side you're on. All I have to do is listen to you for a few seconds. All I have to do is listen to anybody for a few seconds once they enter the discussion of the political arena. And I know immediately where they stand. For most people. Some people are pretty good at hiding it. But most people are pretty pretty close to just wearing it on their sleeve once you really get it into them. Once you start having an argument about it, they let loose pretty easily. But Reuben Everett, this guy is not a rarity in the Hispanic community or the Democrat community overall. These people have this, it's a liberal paradigm. It's a liberal talking point. It's one of their narratives. Hate the white guy. Hate the white person, but especially the white male. By the way, the most hated person in America, ironically the person who made the country, just a statement of fact, the greatest country in the world with the greatest amount of civil rights and human freedoms, is a white, conservative, Christian male. Those are the people who made this country most of all. That's just a statement of fact. Not that only that type of person can do everything, but that is the vast majority of the people who did this, who made this country what it is, with all of its freedoms, its civil rights, the free market capitalist system of which shook the whole world and has invented so many things of which the world enjoys. Not just us, but the world took after us. We took it to a whole nother level. But Reuben Navarette, he is a typical Hispanic Democrat who is flustered by these kinds of things, politicizing it immediately. He sees an old white guy. That's always the image of liberals. Old white guys, grumpy and evil Republicans who hate people. Oh, and they were ready to pounce on this like a raptor. They saw the opportunity with a guy wielding a massive arsenal of weaponry in Mandalay Bay, killing, 50 plus people and 500 plus wounded. This man, regardless of his race, is a vicious monster, a horrible killer who, by the way, killed people of all colors and different backgrounds and ethnicities in the concert in that country music festival just outside the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Let me say that again. The killer killed different people. He wasn't even a white supremacist. There's nothing in his social media. He left almost no footprint at all, no digital footprint at all. And nothing, of course, to indicate white supremacy. He was like a former IRS guy, as they said, and he did a few other things. But he gave no indication of actual racism. The biggest thing probably what drove this guy over the edge, probably depression. This guy probably had massive depression, even if people said he was nice and had no indication of aggressiveness or any other such thing. This guy was on a psychotropic drug, and very scary that the trend of these drugs seems to very heavily affect the mental state of these people, and to such an extent that they begin realizing an alternate reality in their own minds. And you know what? I think the psychotropic effects are probably the biggest factor in what drove him to do this. Not racism, not sexism, not because he's white or against minorities or anything you could conceive. He had no connections to ISIS. He's a white guy who never spoke of religion or anything in his digital footprint. The guy, I'm telling you right now, though he was richer later in life, coming from a broken home to real estate richness, the guy was still not happy. A high-rolling gambler at the Mandalay Bay Hotel. That the hotel staff so disregarded the security because he made them money. And that he put it back into the hotel by staying there. That he was a big patron of that hotel. Coming from Mesquite to Las Vegas to win money or to waste it in the hotel doing other things. This guy, I'm telling you right now, Money doesn't give you happiness. This guy was depressed. And he took drugs like about almost every other freaking American these days. Massive amount of Americans take antidepressants, which have very bad psychotropic effects over time. And this is unacceptable. We don't need to go after guns. Gun control is not the problem. And profiling white people as if their behavior for acquiring such a massive plethora of weapons and firing upon people peacefully in a festival is somehow, this behavior, a link to the melanin count in their skin, or how far back the guy's hairline was, or how old he was. I mean, where do you stop? Again, liberals have demonstrated here with Rubin and all the rest of them that they look at vanity, just as they screw each other with breaking people apart into identity groups, identity politics. Everyone's got to be in a group so we can find a way to victimize them, and then we can get their vote and get them dependent on us, and therefore we Democrat politicians can stay in forever. But in of their plans of staying in their cushy little offices, they divide, conquer, and destroy the whole country in the process. They destroy the whole country in the process. And they don't give a damn. They don't. To associate a man who buys all this weaponry, plans this all out, completely basing it upon his skin color. You want to talk about racist? All you ever hear these days is how racist every white person is. But magically, fantastically, with unicorns and lollipops and Willy Wonka chocolate rivers, minorities are never racist, because that would be racist to even suggest that they were racist. And women are never sexist, because they're always the victims. Yes, but white men in general, but white men are the most attacked people in the country. And there's no logical justification for it. You want to slam white men worth slamming? Slam the plantation owners over 200 years ago. Slam the Jim Crow people. Slam KKK and white supremacy and neo-Nazis. Yes. But do they constitute anywhere near the majority of white people in this country? Hell no! They are a microscopic percentage. They are mini-my teensy-tiny little enclaves, speckled here and there across the country. There's little to nothing left of white racism. Does it still exist? Yes. To the extent liberals believe? No. Like everything, liberals bloat something that is remotely true, and they explode it into a massive zeppelin where it was once just a little balloon. You don't associate behaviors exclusively with the skin color or the way someone looks. Now, if you saw white guys doing this every other week or every other month or even every year to 2 years, then you can put together a logical identification stereotype. And that's what I call it, because if you look at in Chicago, Illinois, right, in the inner city areas, it's mostly black people killing other black people, young black males, not white males, young black males. But we say black so we can specify as to who it is as to the description, because it is important for law enforcement to identify who the culprits, the criminals are, so that they may be subdued, so that peace and order may be retained in the communities. If you just say young male, okay, you got the male, they have male genitalia, they're a male, they're going to look like a boy or an adult man. Okay, then you get to young. Young means what? A teenager to their 20s, maybe early 30s. Okay, but you need more descriptions. And guess what? You know what? Sorry, folks, but everyone needs to realize that skin color plays a factor in terms of law enforcement identifying a culprit, a criminal, in the act or just committing the act. It helps them ID them. It gets them that one extra attribute as to what they look like closer to knowing what they look like so that they are more likely, more probable to catch them. That's all that it is. It's merely another part of the description. There are no racial motives behind it. Are some cops racist? Yeah, but they constitute a microscopic, almost negligible percentage. Are there bad apple cops? Yes. Do they constitute anywhere near the majority of police departments all over the country? No. The vast majority of police departments in this country, they are good, decent men and women defending our communities, protecting and serving us. They're the people who come and help you when you make that 911 call, when it's not a medical emergency and it's not a fire. They're there to protect and serve you. They serve you in and of protecting you. They help break up disputes in the process as a third-party individual to get rid of the aspect of familiarity, because that's a big part of the justice system, playing out as a third party, so that, like in the older days, in antiquity, thousands of years ago, even hundreds of years ago, people would take vengeance on each other because they were families. They were personal families. One person would kill someone from one family, and then the other family decide, hey, we're going to do worse to you to pay you back for what you did to our son. And so they go and they kill 2 sons. Then the other people come back and they kill four daughters. And they come back and kill 6 daughters. And it goes on till everyone's dead. That's why we have a third party called law enforcement officers, attorneys, judges, and every one of the like, so that there is a force, a law enforcement entity that is devoid of familiarity with the 2 opposing parties. That is the criminal, the perpetrator, and the defendant, the victim. Allegedly, both of them allegedly. But still, it is a very important thing that we came up with a third-party idea. Not America, I mean, per se, but that it built up to that over time in human history. That a country would be able to afford third-party law enforcement officers and other such personnel to handle the disputes between people that they could not locally handle themselves. But back to the thing about you cannot judge someone based on their skin color and just assume that all of them are serial killers. That's absurd. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it is dangerous to associate racism in such a way, to actually profile whites as if every white male is in their house, Reuben, contemplating, oh yeah, ooh, look at that AR-15, ooh, oh gosh, yum, 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 look at that bump stock, ooh, I'm going to get 20 of those, I'm going to go get an AK-47, oh yeah. You honestly think that people, white males at home, are doing this? You know that white males are committing these mass murders, what, every 10, 15, 20 years, like I said earlier? It's not happening every day. You know what? ISIS attacks are happening almost every other week, every month, in the last 2 or 3 years. And you see one attack. This attack, of course, was atrocious. It was monstrous. The worst we've seen in modern times. But this is one white guy. And how long? And almost a decade or more? I mean, Columbine was way back, but we've had a few since then, but even then, it's been almost nothing. And this guy, liberals have this false sense of getting overworked. They pretend like they're righteous warriors trying to make change, when all they're doing is shoving people into something they don't want, into something ridiculous. No one wants this. Only you do, Reuben. You hear me? And all your fellow Democrats. You are a Democrat. Stop trying to act like you're all neutral and stuff. You get me? Huh? So here's the thing. The guy was white, probably on a psychotropic drug. No digital footprint as to religion or connection to the ISIS or really anything else. Girlfriend from the Philippines wired her $100,000. She gave no indication of being radicalized by Islam. She always talked about loving to be a grandma and a mother on her Facebook page or something. But that's about it. That's about it. He didn't leave much of a footprint except for a cryptic note, I believe. A series of numbers on a piece of paper in his room, one of his hotel rooms, but that's about it. I think the drug is the problem. Here's the real solution, Reuben. We don't look at white men and profile them, because that's racist, Reuben. I don't give a crap about, read the whole quote in its context. Shut up. Shut up. What we need to do is we need to take a close look at pharmaceutical companies, these drug companies who make billions of dollars off the American people every year, and we need to filter what they're doing. We need to look into their laboratory test results, and their trials need to be extended, and the quality of their trials needs to be to the highest standard possible, the American standard. They're messing with people's health, not physical state of mind, not just the physical state, but the mental state. This guy was thrown out of whack because of this drug. And he took it back in June of this year? And, the drug's effects only become stronger, or the body becomes more used to it. And it works onto the state of your mind. And I honestly think this guy's reality began to phase into something else. I don't know if it went to the extent of hallucinations or whether he thought there were evil forces he couldn't see or anything. I don't know. But he was tripping out for what he was on the drug he was taking. I don't know what it was, antidepressant or whatever. But I think it had a major effect in driving him not only to plan this, he planned this. This was not spontaneous, obviously. But he did this. He murdered over 50 people and horribly injured over 500. That is an incredible casualty count. And this disgusting monster didn't even have the balls to surrender to police forces. SWAT was there. When they breached the door, they found him already dead. He had committed suicide because his cowardice overwhelmed any courage he ever actually had. So he shot up 500 plus people and then killed himself in the end, like all the other cowards. Well, I'm going to tell everyone right now, he's not happy with what he's seeing on the other side right now. And he sees something on the other side, and it ain't pretty. His big eyes have widened as far as they will, and his jaws dropped to find where he is right now. Let me tell you, where he is, it ain't a joyride. And it won't ever be a joyride again. No more gambling, no more guns, no more drugs, no more real estate riches, no more Filipino wife, or girlfriend rather. He's gone. He may be dead, but his spirit is eternal, as all of ours are. All of ours are. And I'm telling you right now, he's seeing something on the other side, and he's not liking it. He is residing in what is called Hades right now, and he's not liking it. And really sorry that all of that had to happen. Horrible, absolutely terrible tragedy. And people like Reuben have to politicize it. They have to make a case of racism out of it, where there's no indication of race at all. These people still find a way to put race into it. I'm sick of that crap. So Reuben, you can shove off and just not come back on. Okay? Thank you. It's just amazing to me what these people do. Well, guys, I'm praying for those in Las Vegas and for all those who were involved in the festival. I'm praying for their recovery. I'm praying for the families who lost loved ones and were injured. I pray that their wounds are soothed. And I know you guys are too. I can't imagine what they're going through. And just pray for them. Love them in spirit, and if you're there, give what help you can to them, because they really need it to recover from such a horrific, monstrous event such as that. Keep them in your prayers, please, and as I will. I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Have a fantastic day or night whenever you're watching this. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.